Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are located. Happy to be here with you. This is Silvana Michelizzi. I'm a Marketing Communication Manager for the refrigeration segment. And we are here today to listen about a webinar on how we can help you in getting the route to the green transition with our A2L portfolio. I'm here today with two colleagues, Christian-Marc de la Perrière and Luca Ballotta. I will hand over to them in a few minutes, we have great presenters, great experts in the topic today. So really, it's going to be a very interesting topic for today. Just before we get started, I want to show you a little bit of practical information to make sure that we comfortably run this webinar. Please note that this webinar will be recorded, and the recording of the video will be available afterwards. You are muted by default, as you can see, and that means that for your question, and we hope that we'll get lots of questions, use the chat box to ask them, and we will take a few minutes at the end of this presentation and make sure that we answer them. In the case we are not able to answer all of them, be assured that we will get back to you on the email. Before I hand over to Christian and to Luca, I would like to get started with this video from our CEO and President, Kim Fausing, where he will talk about how we Danfoss we walk the talk to make sure that we reach the carbon neutrality as well. So it's really the green transition in action from us Danfoss, and hope you will enjoy. Just a second with me, because I will make sure that you have the correct sound.
2021, we will continue to make our 250,000 square meter headquarter campus CO2. In 2021, we will continue to make our 250,000 square meter headquarter campus CO2 neutral. We will do so by using green electricity and cover the heating demand by CO2 neutral district energy, by utilizing excess heat from our processes and data centers, and by installing heat pumps to cover the remaining demand for heating. In other words, by applying our own solution.
So thank you for your attention, and sorry for the many restart. It's me who has been moving a little bit too quickly on the slides. But that was a short introduction from a few words from our CEO. Now it's time to hand the presentation to you, Christian, and I will give you the presenter's rights.
To walk the talk of Kim Fausing, let me share my right screen. Should be right there. I hope you can see it. So to walk the talk of Kim Fausing and looking at the right scale, all governments everywhere are working to reduce global warming potential and try to limit energy consumption. Danfoss range are developed to reduce energy consumption and help the transition to low GWP. In Europe, while using MyGWP A1 refrigerants such as R44A, R449, R134A is still entirely possible under the current regulation in applications such as remote condensing unit cold rooms. Professionals are increasingly switching to A2L compatible system in preparation. The next phase down, end of 2021, with 50% reduction versus baseline, combined with new energy consumption, will limit impact refrigerant availability and use technology to high efficient best-in-class system. In addition, several countries are implementing tax models, 5-ton CO2 limits, public purchase program, etc. We continuously rethink the way of designing products and systems for cleaner, safer, and easier usage. Sorry. Our goal is to operate them into a sustainable and efficient way. Therefore, Danfoss has developed the widest portfolio of refrigerant systems, qualified to work with the new A2L refrigerants, such as R1234YF, R454C, R455A. Then, with our expertise in commercial refrigeration application, our solutions are present across the cooling circuit, from the compression of to the expansion of the refrigerant, and up to the system monitoring and management. Danfoss products secure a reliable refrigerant management with Danfoss compressors, technology, filter dryers, expansion valve, the system safety with temperature control, pressure management, and high efficiency system with electronic controls, hot gas defrost solution, and of course, the food safety with IoT and app-based solution. Why A2L now? Looking to the condensing unit. The thermodynamic property of those new A2L refrigerants are close to the standard ones used by the market, with comparable pressure, slightly higher cost, and current methodology up to a certain charge. Inside the system, you have similar piping, working pressure. It's a slightly smaller compressor ratio. Inside the installation, inside the tubing, you have a lower refrigerant charge, and which give a lower installation and maintenance cost versus a CO2 installation. The takeaway we want you to take for the A2L is that those are long-term refrigerant, mildly flammable, and got a significant, consistent glide. Our Danfoss Evolution products have been made for our well-known Optima Slim Pack and Optima Plus new range. Those new multi-refrigerant condensing units, some will be launched step by step. One is already launched with up to 2.5 kilowatts for medium temp application and up to 0.9 kilowatt for low temp application, and will be at the end will be covering by the end of the year up to 10 kilowatt for medium temperature application and up to 3 kilowatt for medium temp application. 1.3 for our Optima Slim Pack. Looking at to the value, those are quite familiar to the one you have or you already know. Those products are similar. In fact, we have added safety to the core. We have put some future-proof with complexity reduction. We have reduced the number of SKU of parts to get one code for multiple A1 and A2L refrigerants. And of course, we want to optimize the cooling for the futures with a product which gain and add high efficiency, low energy consumption to give the indirect emission reduced and to be economically viable. Now, speaking about familiar points, you already know what a list about product features. Sealed electrical box, A1, A2L compressor, A2L component, A2L upgrade design. We mean stackable unit. We mean electronic controller, pre-program for offering serviceability, easy maintenance, night mode. All the components for quick and safe installation. And of course, adding A2L, we have added some features. We have a pre-program for A2L controllers, louvers, and all for the compressors, compartment ventilation. This is at least a pillar of safety measure to ensure and to secure your system with A2L refrigerant. Looking now to the targeted application. Of course, we are targeting restaurant, bakery, butchery, retail store, all the smallest one. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 cold rooms, but we can also provide some gas station, C-stores, and of course, supermarket and discounter. This is the end of my presentation. I will give the talk to Lucas.
Hello, good afternoon, and thanks, Christian, for the presentation. Now it's my turn to talk about the wide portfolio of Danfoss main component and compressor. As you can see in this slide, Danfoss has a big portfolio of components, not only related to line components, but even, for example, for compressor or heat exchangers. So now we have no time to go deep in all the components Danfoss can provide for you, customer, for A2L refrigerants, but we will go deep into some interesting components, like, for example, compressors. Okay, we divided the compressor range into two big areas. If the duty requirement is below 2 kilowatts, we have the solution we call with black compressors. Okay, these compressors are not so different from the ones you have at your home. Okay, in a household appliance, we have a good range of compressors in this range of duties less than 2 kilowatts. We have more than one choice for or one or two choice for every range, because there are many models. Okay, so you have not only one model to choose, and these components are for sure released for flammable refrigerants, because this standard is related to, for example, propane or R600. If we increase the duty, and we are covering now the range between 2 and 25 kilowatts, we have two possible choices. We have reciprocating compressors like MTZ and NTZ. M is for medium temperature, for example, evaporating temperature between 0 and -10. N is for low temperature application. The model with one cylinder of this reciprocating compressor is released and qualified for the two main A2L low GWP refrigerants, for example, R454C and R455A. The compressor is multi-refrigerant, so it's approved even for the A1 refrigerant. The code is the same. There are some different motors available with 1 phase and 3 phase, and two very important points I would like to underline in this presentation are the performances. So based on the tests we did in our lab with the new low GWP and A2L refrigerants, the COP of the system is usually better than compared to the R404A refrigerant. So we can have a more efficient system with our compressor and new refrigerants. Another point is that, considering the A2L refrigerant, the compressor, both reciprocating and scrolls, are category 2 for PID. Let's jump to
comunque la media è 30-40.
Sorry, Romina, we can hear you. Let's talk about a scroll compressor. The duty range is between 2 and 26 kilowatts. For sure, if you need 26 kilowatts, you have to install a tandem system with two compressors in parallel. We have MLZ and LLZ. M is for medium temperature, L is for low temperature. The compressor, the score compressor MLZ will be released at the end of this year, and the version for low temperature at the beginning of the next year. For this kind of compressor is available one option for IP54. Okay, so there is one kit to increase the IP grade of the cable gland of all the parts with electricity, because in many cases this is a requirement. So just to make a brief recap, for A2L refrigerants we have so many different options. The biggest one is core compressor. We have one model of reciprocating compressor with one cylinder, and for duties that are lower than 2 kilowatts, we have the household compressor, the product we call black compressor. Now let's jump to the line components, okay? Because there are many components that are released and that are available for mildly flammable refrigerant. But the first thing we have to underline at the beginning is very, very important, is relevant, because the first question we always received is, are ATEX approved components mandatory for systems with flammable refrigerants? The reply is no. This is not a requirement. But why? How we can install standard components with flammable refrigerants? First of all, we can say that a refrigeration system does not create an ATEX zone during normal operation, no matter the refrigerant used. So if you put or feed your application with a flammable refrigerant, this will not create an ATEX zone, because the refrigeration system in normal operation is considered a closed system, okay? So due to this, Danfoss has standard components approved for A2L's refrigerant. But how we can prove, how we can say that our components are okay with flammable refrigerant? With a document called Initial Assessment. This document will be attached in the technical PID dossier, okay, to prove that our components, even if they are standard, so the design was not only for flammable refrigerant, but for standard refrigerant, these components are okay. In this document called Initial Assessment, that technical department of Danfoss will send to the customers, this is the declaration where Danfoss says that the products are not cause of sparks or ignition with flammable refrigerants. There are for sure some notes inside, okay, on some restrictions maybe in the application. But if you respect the Danfoss requirement, you can install standard components with flammable refrigerants. So this document and the Danfoss datasheet allow you, customer, to install the standard products with flammable refrigerant. For sure, there are some products that are ATEX approved, okay, because there are some, for example, some coils, some valves that are ATEX, but this is not necessary to install the valve or the line components with flammable refrigerant. Let's jump to some components, okay, that must be investigated deeply in this very short overview of Danfoss products. Let's start with thermostatic expansion valve. Both versions, solder and flare, are okay with flammable refrigerant. So you can see in the datasheet the codes available for flammable refrigerants are both solder and flare. The latest addition of thermostatic expansion valves are with R454C, R455A, and R1234YF bulbs. Okay, so now the Danfoss portfolio is very big with a lot of different bulb charges with MOP and not MOP. But if you need to develop some special charges, for example, a special MOP point, you have only to ask the technical department, and base it on the dimension of the quantity of the request, Danfoss can develop some special charge. Let's jump now in safety devices, because this is another point that is very interesting to investigate, because the solution that which Danfoss provides to the market are two. If you have a A2 refrigerant or R32 refrigerant or a refrigerant flammable with a speed of propagation flame higher than 1.5 centimeter each second, you have to install the ATEX model. Okay, the ATEX model is released for A3 refrigerant and R32, and you can install in ATEX area. Okay, this is the model number one for A3 and R32. If you have one of these refrigerant listed in the last line, you can install the standard model. So this is a very good news, because you don't need any special pressure switch. We are talking about a safety device of category 4 for PID. So this is very important to know, that you don't need to install a special model. Okay, if you are working with these three fluids. If we want to install one pressure switch that is not adjustable, like ACB, we can say that these products are not ATEX approved, okay, but they are in compliance with ISC 60335, okay. So it means that there are no restrictions for both solution, flare and solder. If you respect the guideline we will send to you, okay, you can see some very small extract of the guidelines, and you can install the standard code with the A2L refrigerant and even A3 refrigerant. Okay, this is only a short overview of what we can offer. Okay, so it is not possible, okay, to talk about all components, but if you need some more details about the availability of our portfolio with a special gas, because day by day we find new gases in the market, so we in CoolSelector have a tool called Product and Refrigerant Overview, where you can see all the products listed in CoolSelector with a lot of many different gases. You can immediately check this table, and if you like, you can export the table to Excel to check if the product is fully released, not yet released, or not released. If you have further question or any doubts, you have for sure to contact Danfoss technical support. Danfoss provides many info in internet. Okay, in this slide I will skip CoolSelector, because I think that everybody is aware of this. Okay, Danfoss has many resources online. In his website we have a product store where you can find all the info related to almost all codes available in the market. So if you put the Danfoss code inside the Danfoss store, you will receive all the info, the datasheet, the manual, and a short table with all the technical features of the components. And last but not least, on the website refrigerants.danfoss.com, you can find many info about the refrigerants, because it's very important to have the right info in these years, because we are in a transition. Okay, process. So there are a lot of contents related to the refrigerants and to how to handle, for example, a retrofit, okay, from a standard refrigerant to new low GWP refrigerant. So there are a lot of available info for your customers. So I end my presentation, okay, and Silvana, I will give you the presenter
Yes.
to Silvana, okay?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Luca, grazie. So we have a few minutes for questions, and actually it was great to send a reminder here to the team, so feel free also. Let's stay with you here, Luca, and stay on what you presented. One of the questions we got in the chat is about Newcon numbers. Will there be Newcon numbers for the A2L components?
Okay, the reply is not simple in one word. I cannot say yes or no. Almost yes, but especially for line components, we have to check case by case with the initial assessment. Okay, the first thing to do is to check if the component is available. If it's available, usually there are no more codes because it's standard. So if the code is released for flammable refrigerant and it doesn't need any special modification, the code will be standard. Almost codes are standard. Okay, so for example, for solenoid valve, the codes are the same. For coils, the codes are the same. If you need, in some special case, an ATEX coil, you have to select the right code for ATEX. But the coil code hasn't changed. I hope this replied to your question.
Let's see. But thanks for elaborating that. Okay, we have a few more minutes, so let's run that. Over to you now, Christian. So just sorry, because I'm trying to enlarge a little bit here. So here we go. You talked about this is an evolution of our current ranges.
Yes.
What about these current ranges? Will they still be available, or they will be phased down?
Yes, we don't have plan yet. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes, we don't have plan yet to stop this range. The new range with new codes and new designation we have created will take in place, is ready for the person who want to use A1 and A2L refrigerant, or A1 or A2L refrigerant. But today we don't plan any phase out of the remaining range.
Oh, okay, thanks for clarifying this. Let's run another one here. Let's start new. It's about sorry, trying to read at the same time. So I've seen that your units are stackable. So do you confirm that there's no minimum distance to keep when installed?
Yeah, that's what we try to explain. Our strategy with Danfoss is to have create a unit where we have accumulate some pillars of safety. That means those units, the pressure switch has been validated for A2L, shredder port, screw connection also. We have had some pre-ventilation. We have had louvers to ensure those things. But at least when you say we keep the same things, we keep the same stackability and the same way to see the unit. I mean, this unit is the test report we have made. Sorry to I'm organizing my word. The test report we have made and when conclude that there is neither ignition or explosion under a stoichiometric mix of R454C and air. I mean, you make the maximum, the best in class mix to have flammability, and our units are ignition proof. I mean, we cannot make any ignition. That means we keep on the same standard. That means our unit is remain stackable. Our unit with a stackable, I mean with two A2L units, and you can stack two A2L units. You cannot stack one A2L and one A1 unit when a refrigerator, sorry, a unit using A1. But yeah, we don't have minimum distance in between each unit.
All right. So thanks a lot for elaborating here, Christian. Well, actually, time is up, so we can't stay more. Of course, we would have loved to stay a little bit more with you, but let's conclude for today. And just let me remind you that this webinar has been recorded, it will be available on demand afterwards. But of course, as well as usual, if you want to reach out to Danfoss, reach out to us here. Luca and Christian will stay around also the next days, so really feel free to reach out to the guys. Then thanks a lot, everyone, for being with us today, and wishing you a great day or morning whenever you are. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.